Hello everyone! Our adventure into Khaz Algar starts on the Isle of Dorn. But the intro quest leading us there, it's currently unavailable, so we don't know exactly what happens leading us into our brand new adventure. Some context clues show us that Dalaran did not have a good time. The city has come under the attack by the Nerubians, who you might recall playing a big part during Wrath of the Lich King. Their evolved Akir, in this case, evolved under the influence of the old god Yogg-saron, which turned them into the Nerubians. The war in Wrath of the Lich King that was between undead Nerubians taken over by the Lich King, Nerubians like Anubarak, and those that kinda stepped away from Yogg-saron and decided to do their own thing. The Nerubians that we see within the War Within, they're an offshoot empire that, while most likely having the same origin, followed a different path. And down below in the kingdom of Ashkahet, we'll learn more about the culture that they've built, their relationship with their queen, and their allegiance with Zolotov. A Zolotov that potentially walked the streets of Dalaran during the attack. Khadgar is nowhere to be found, and they take a moment for the Archmage. That's all kept a bit in the dark, but we do know that we crash on a previously undiscovered bit of land. So of course the question is, why here and why now? Part of the pre-event quest has Magni Bronzebeard speak with Azeroth, but her voice is strong, and he hasn't been talking to her for quite a bit, so it overwhelms him. That's why we take him to Dalaran to seek help, but just before he goes down, Thrall asks him where we're supposed to go. The King of Diamonds almost tells us it's called, and then bam, he goes out, and I expect that he's going to wake up, give us directions from Azeroth herself, but that doesn't explain how the landmass is only now revealed. Has it just been around for millennia and nobody bothered to map it out? Was there a cloaking device or magical mist keeping it from sight? I haven't found an answer to that question yet, with the exception of a Titan console that is part of a side quest. On an island that is called the Three Shields, we find a Titan console worn by the elements. The arm of a keeper still clutches its dial. Although it reacts to your touch, it is no longer functional. Upon a closer inspection, you discover this console is dedicated to the protocol of deactivation, but it's unclear what that means. Perhaps it means the deactivation of their shield? To be explained. We do know that the area has been accessible for a few years now, as before us, other Outlanders have showed up as well. These Outlanders are the Arafi that are still waiting for us in the third zone. They've also shown up here. That is why some of the buildings, they are fit to house the Earthen, but they've also been adjusted to accommodate mortals like ourselves. I am super curious about the Arafi. How did they know about this area? How did they get trapped down below? What have they been up to? But that's like the third zone for testing, and we're still in the first. In this moment, we're hot under assault by the Nerubians, led by Queensguard Tyrix. Jaina and Thrall are happy to see us and need our help with slaying the spider creatures, clear out magical debris of Dalaran, help out more survivors. Survivors like Moira Fauruzan, who was at her father's side as he recovered from talking with Azeroth. Her son, so Magni's grandson, Dagran, he's grown up a bit, and he's very much into reading, puzzles, and exploration.
Did you find something? So much to discuss. Another puzzle to solve? I read about this. I want to see everything.
Meryl Fellstorm needs assistance with stabilizing a portal. Mages that play during Legion, you'll remember partying with Meryl during your Order Hall questline. Merrin Noggenfogger is handing out antidotes, also part of the Legion Order Hall storyline, in this case for the rogues. Ritson Flameskull, part of the Warlock Order Hall story. They're dead, but luckily soulstone themselves. Ava Sunreaver, they need a bit of extra mana, while Bram Bronzebeard needs help getting out of Polymorph.
Thank you, champion. I got the wool pulled over my eyes. Literally.
Endwin survived as well, but Magni is in trouble, so we help him with taking on Zyrix, who sees us as nothing but fodder for their ascension. Queen Anzarek, in league with Zolotov, is offering a path to greatness, upgrades for her people, those that she deems worthy, so Zyrix could really use this win, calls upon more Nerubians to swarm over us, which might have taken us out, was it not for the timely arrival of Bilgrim and the Storm Riders. A real-time cutscene is going to take place here, where Zyrix is forced to retreat, and Bilgrim is astonished to see Magni, begins to interrogate him about his presence here. They use the term Traeger, which I have no idea what they mean, but it's interesting to see that Magni is so recognized. Almost like that is not something entirely new or unique to the Earthen here. Not if they have a specific term for it, right? But that is of course assuming that they're talking about Magni. There's a massive explosion in the distance toward their city of Dornogal. So we join Bilgrim and his Storm Riders. The Nerubians are not a new enemy for them, they've been fighting for quite a while. Although it's been centuries since the last Nerubian attack. This time, they managed to destroy the Coreway, the path leading further down below. We're gonna need that path available to us if we want to get to Zalotov and further into the story. So it's time to get to work. Jane and Thrall, they teleport out of here to recruit more forces and bring back an army. Anduin and Magni are both struggling, depowered, so they stay behind. Illyria is hellbent on tracking down Zalotov, so she goes on her own hunt, and I wonder what exactly Zalotov has done to her. There's of course the connection to the Void that they both have, and the introductionary cutscene for the War Within. There's also the potential of Khadgar's death, and Zalotov directly being responsible for it. Considering Illyria has known Khadgar all the way back since the formation of the Alliance of Lordaeron and the Sons of Lothar, his demise would be a great tragedy, but then they could add even more to this. Not that I would want to see this, because Vrisa is like the Peggy of the Windrunner sisters. Her story just hasn't been that developed. As well as her children, they could easily become part of the next generation that they're building up towards. Her children, twins born from elf and human, Ronin and Vrisa, they could be incredibly interesting. Or Zalotov could have killed the sister, adding to the drama and stakes that are happening here. Time is going to tell, but with all of our forces spread out, we're left with Dagran and Moira. More specifically, Moira as she leaves Dagran in our new capital city away from the danger. Now once upon a time, the Earthen would have had no problem restoring their Coreway, but time has created fractures amongst their ranks. They were placed here by the Titans and their keepers, with clear directives as to what they were supposed to do. For a while, this machine operated as it was supposed to. They built up Dornogal, they maintained the Coreway, but over time, the Titans fell silent, and with no word from their creators, some of the Earthen started to wonder why they were just following the same routine day in, day out. Why the centuries, why the millennia of silence just offered the same thing. They wanted more out of this provincial life, went against their coding and edicts, which left the Earthen fractured. You've got Merrick's the Council Ward, who seems to be programmed to analyze situations, come up with a plan for the Earthen, a plan aligned with the edicts. Speaker Brinte is what I would assume to be a machine speaker. They have strayed away from the edicts in practice, but not completely, and they're still trying to uphold the obligations to keep the Titanworks functioning. But as times change, they sometimes have to think out of the box to keep things going. Belgrim is far more stoic. An Oathsworn fully dedicated to the edicts, seeing anyone that does it differently as doing it wrong, which means that when Edelgon of the Stone Wards stepped away, became an unbound, as they called it, no longer followed the edicts of the Titans. Our Bilgrim saw this as a great betrayal, and they haven't seen or spoken to each other for millennia. Times change, and we're going to need the help of the artists and smiths. We're going to need the Stone Ward if we want to fix the Coreway, so Merrick's gives a new directive. To go to Freywold village and find Edelgon. Our arrival is a bit tense, but Moira knows a thing or two about bringing clans together. The Unbound would love to help, but the Nerubians didn't spare them either. Dalaran, the Coreway, right here, the Nerubians are being guided by Zalotov with key precision. These are not just random attacks, and some of the craftsmen have been taken away into the Earthcrawl mine. While Bilgrim goes off to check on their mining operations, we join Bram Bronzebeard on our very first delve. A new game mechanic, which, in this case, has us liberate the Earthen, slay some of the Nerubians. Upon returning victorious, Bilgrim's eyes have opened a little, as the quarry is completely run over by Fungarians. They were supposed to protect the Isle, not just the city and not just the Oathsworn. The Unbound are still his people, regardless if they stepped away from the edicts or not. As Bilgrim finally asks what he can do to help, we run off to gather ore from the quarry and fungi flesh to help heal the Earthen. Some of them are in such a bad shape though that more aid is required. Aid only available at Dornogal, so Bilgrim had his Stormrook carry the injured Unbound back to the city. Huge steps after millennia of not speaking to each other. Things are definitely looking up for the Earthen, but the day isn't quite over yet. More Nerubians fly overhead. This time they attack the Proscenium, a triarch site where they were healing the injured. Once more into the fray. Once more our heroes take on the spidery foe with the aid of explosive Cinder Brew. The Earthen stand together and are ready to work on fixing the Coreway. But knowing the Nerubians as they do, they're gonna see our backs turned and our attention focused elsewhere as the perfect moment to strike. Pilgrim has us join him to their rookery to set up a perimeter, which questing-wise is not available yet, but we can test the dungeon, see the place where the Storm Griffins were raised and trained by the Earthen over centuries, which has now become overrun by corrupted Earthen known as the Skardin.
It's been overrun by a group of corrupted Earthen known as the Skardin. And we're going to be just beginning to understand where they came from and what their nature is as we fight through it.
If they're talking about the Skardin that we know, then this relates to the corrupted Dark Iron Dwarves of Grimbatol. They were once upon a time transformed by the evil inside the place. The evil, once released by Queen Modgut while wielding Zalatov. The Skardin have so far been pretty much book only. The book Night of the Dragon, as the Grimbatol dungeon used basic Trog models. This is still to be revealed, what quests and stories are going to relate to the dungeon. So far we clear out the place, as there's seemingly no salvation for those taken by the Void. Coming back out, we're a little bit underprotected, as the Storm Riders, they're inactive, and we only have a handful of peacekeepers to defend Dornogal. If the Nerubians would strike us here, we wouldn't stand a chance, so best to make a weapon of our own and capture Zyrix. If they want Cinderbrew, then we're gonna give it to them. Having Illyria draw their attention, we prepare to blow up the brewery. The Nerubian assault is so fierce though that they manage to sabotage our fuses. Pilgrim steps up, makes the heroic sacrifice, not just for the Oathsworn, but for the Unbound, for Outlanders, for all of us, destroying himself, but also taking the Nerubians and Queensguard Zyrix with him. More than anything, he wanted us to stand together again, and so we shall, to honor his memory. It will take time to fully repair the Coreway, but enough work has been done for us to go to the next level, descend into the Ringing Deeps. This is where we'll see huge, complicated machines, maintained by those machine speakers, but as times are changing and their numbers are dwindling, they're gonna need to find new ways to keep up their charge. Speaker Brinte is going to join us down below, but all of that will be a story for when the next zone is available for testing. So for now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!